Welcome to Spirited Investigations and welcome to Hawaii's Haunted History. This list of 10 is part of a playlist of gentle listening, spooky collections from across the USA. The screen fades to black, the music disappears, so you can enjoy the stories without distractions. Please do consider a like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. First of all, please do excuse some pronunciations. I'm obviously not Hawaiian, and although I've tried to find spoken examples of some of these spooky locations and historical people, mistakes will be made. Call it a drinking game for those I get wrong. Our first legend is that of the Night Marchers, ancient warriors who are definitely best kept clear of. According to legend, they roam around the Hawaiian Islands at night, dressed, ready for battle, and heavily armed. Their drums pound as they go, torches blaze as they march across the landscape. Both features are strong indicators that, should you hear them, you should go in the opposite direction. If anyone hears the drums, the sound of conch shells, and/or chants, then they must hide, out of the sight of the night marchers. If a person is unlucky enough to be seen by them, they must lie flat on the ground, playing dead, as a mark of respect. The rule is to never make eye contact with them and avert your eyes from any possibility of catching a look from them. Failure to do those things will result in death if that person doesn't have an ancestor who is a night marcher. At number 2, we have a story from the island of Oahu and the Old Pali Road in the Nuuanu Valley. The site of the road is where some of the most significant battles in Hawaiian history were fought. In 1795 there was a bizarre order given by the ruling king to try and unify the warring tribes of the Hawaiian Islands. He ordered thousands of opposing warriors to jump off the Nuuanu Pali cliffs to their deaths, which apparently they did. Today the whole area where the road runs through is completely filled with ghostly apparitions. People say they've seen those ghostly warriors falling from the cliffs, as if they were reliving their deaths for all eternity. But not all of the spirits are of those warriors. The most common apparition is of a young girl who is missing half her face. Yikes! Witnesses claim to see the girl moving down the road with a skipping rope. When they get closer, they realise how she's only got half of her face, just 2 bulging eyes, with rope marks around her neck. The girl is said to have been strangled to death with her own rope and then left in the bushes alongside the road. Much time passed before she was found, leading locals to think that animals ate part of her face. For number 3, there's a house located at 8th Avenue and Harding Avenue in Honolulu, which has a grisly past. A lot of the history is based around a cannibalistic demon called a kasha. Something like a ghoul, the kasha feeds on human flesh, and once it's finished, it then drags the corpses to hell. The background for the house on 8th Avenue is that a man murdered his whole family and then hid their bodies on the property. Later, his wife and son's remains were found, but his daughter never was. In 1942, a woman called the police about something evil going on in the house. When they arrived, they witnessed her children being thrown across rooms of the house by an unseen force. She, unsurprisingly, moved out soon afterwards. The next occupiers were 3 women. One of them was grabbed by something unseen, which made the other 2 call the police for help. The police then escorted the women to their mother's house as an escape from whatever was going on. While following the women's car, they saw it pull over, and a struggle was going on in the car. When the police walked over, they saw 2 of the women battling to release the grip of something that was strangling the 3rd woman. It could be imagined the 3rd woman was looking for some kind of attention, but when an officer went to intervene, he said he was pushed back by what he felt was a large calloused hand. He did manage to pull her out of the car, but strangely enough, neither car would start again until she got out of the police car and returned to her own. When she did, all they could do was watch, helplessly, as a door was ripped off the car and the woman was strangled to death. 4th on our list is another ghost that likes to strangle people. This one's actually named the Choking Ghost. The old Kakako fire station in the central part of Oahu is home to possibly one or several such spirits, because nobody really knows, due to the phantom not having a body. The aggressive presence makes itself known to firefighters at night, but then feeling a weight on their chests and of being choked. The encounters don't last long, fortunately, and haven't resulted in any deaths, so it is classified as a Kalohi spirit, or prankster. Such entities are mischievous but not life-threatening and enjoy scaring living people. At the halfway point we have the legend of Majina, a creature from Japanese folklore that was brought to Hawaii by the Japanese immigrants. A Majina looks human but has no face. The first sighting of one was in 1959 when a woman was at a theatre in Kahala and saw one in the bathroom. The woman said she entered the room and saw a woman brushing her red hair. She looked at her and noticed how she didn't have a face. This terrified the woman and she ran out in shock. Allegedly, she suffered a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized. A local radio show covered the story due to it gaining local traction at the time. Later, in 1981, radio host Glenn Grant discussed the case again. The same woman who'd been scared called in, insisting the account was true. Many others have since reported similar stories of a faceless woman, including Glenn Grant himself. At number 6 are sightings of the last monarch of the Hawaiian Islands, and someone who I have probably zero chance of pronouncing correctly. Queen Leokalani has been seen by locals and by tourists. One famous encounter was reported by the child of State Senator Eloise Tungpalan. The senator brought her daughter to a government office, and the little girl made friends with someone unseen. She described her as a tall Hawaiian woman who was wearing a long dress. She had lace on her arms and neck and was also barefoot. While walking in the grounds of the Capitol building, the girl saw a statue of the Queen and said that was who had been her friend at the office. For number 7, we're on the island of Oahu again and to the Iolani Palace, which is one of its most famous historical landmarks. Eyebrows aren't even raised anymore when visitors report voices, footsteps, strange odours and dark shadowy figures. One of the common sightings is called the water ghost. It's someone who leaves wet footprints along the hallways. The ghost is thought to be male because of the footprint size and more specifically to be of a Hawaiian prince who died of pneumonia after a punishment of water dunking. There's also a woman in white who roams around the grounds at night. Her trait is to cry and cry and cry, then she vanishes near the stairs that run beneath the fountain outside the Iolani Palace. 8th on our list is another part of Japanese folklore that's now arrived on Hawaii, and that is Obake, which is the malevolent shapeshifter. One of these entities is known as the Green Lady. She has hair that's full of seaweed, she's got jagged teeth, fish-like scales, and is covered in a green substance looking like mould or moss, a sort of mermaid creature. She's been seen wandering the Wahiawa Botanical Garden. Some have seen her travelling as far as the Wahiawa Elementary School. Why the school? Well, the most popular theory of this spirit's origin is that one of her children was lost in the area and was never found. She died from heartbreak, and her spirit roams, searching for her lost child. The scary part to it, especially if you're young, is that after such a loss, she'll gladly take anybody else's child as a twisted revenge. At number 9, according to local law, Kaena Point is a jumping-off place between the worlds, as in, someone can jump off from this world and into the afterlife. If a person is dead, they need to go to that place to transition over to the afterlife. It's the only place on the island where a person's spirit, or yuhani, must go to if it wants to leave this world. If the spirit gets lost and doesn't make the leap into the next realm, it'll be forced to haunt the island until it's able to find its way. Finally, we end with the Shark Man. He is apparently the shape-shifting child of the Shark King and a human woman named Kalei. As the legend goes, his mother tried to make his diet vegetarian when he was a child to try and stop him liking the taste of meat. However, when he became an adult, he discovered meat, and his shark-like insatiable appetite for flesh was born. The problem was, animal meat wasn't enough, or fish. He desired humans. He would transform into a shark and catch people swimming in the ocean. Eventually the locals struck back, hunting him down in his shark form and beating him to death. They chanted over his body, cut him into pieces and burned the remains to make sure any healing or regeneration powers were also destroyed. Now his vengeful spirit hides in the Kanina cave, which has a passage leading out to the sea. It's said that his spirit drags victims back through the passage to eat them. Thank you for joining us on this very interesting journey. Apologies again for the pronunciations, but it was fun to research Hawaii and hopefully fun to you to learn of the creepy goings on. I hope you'll be here next time.